Hi everyone, Jolene here from Bookworm Adventure Girl. I hope you are having a great day. It is snowing here right now, and it's the most substantial amount of snow that we've had, so we will see if it sticks around this time. Today I'm going to be talking about The Animals in That Country by Margaret Atwood. This is the third episode in the Mondays with Margaret series. Welcome back to those who are following along, and if you are new to my channel, thank you so much for checking it out. If you are interested in following this series, or if you're interested in diverse reading and Canadian literature, then please hit subscribe and stick around. If you stick around to the end, I am also going to be talking about The Animals in That Country. Not the poetry collection, but a novel that I'm really looking forward to reading that came out earlier this year. This poetry collection was published in 1968, and I think we're going to start off with the title poem in this collection, and I'm going to read it to you. And then I'll share some of my thoughts. The Animals in That Country by Margaret Atwood. In that country, the animals have faces of people. The ceremonial cats possessing the streets. The fox run politely to earth, the huntsmen standing around him, fixed in their tapestry of manners. The bull embroidered with blood and given an elegant death, trumpets his name stamped on him, heraldic brand because, when he rolled on the sand, sword in his heart, the teeth in his blue mouth were human. He is really a man. Even the wolves holding resonant conversations in their forests thickened with legend. In this country, the animals have the faces of animals. Their eyes flash once in car headlights and are gone. Their deaths are no longer elegant. They have the faces of no one. This poem made me think of a few things. I thought of how we treat animals like humans, and sometimes we treat humans as animals. And I thought of the judgments that we make, the genocides, the Holocaust. I also thought of how animals are sometimes seen as sacred, or we sometimes treat our pets as humans. And I read this poem many times, and knowing that Atwood writes a lot about nature and the natural world, which is what this entire collection is really about, I thought about it a bit more, and we don't know what country is being referred to, and I don't know that that matters, but the first half of the poem talks about this country like it's another world. And the animals are described as ceremonial, polite, having elegant deaths, and having conversations. And then the second half of the book, or the poem, really the last 3 to 4 lines, are in contrast of what has already been described in that country. And it says that in this country, the animals have faces of animals. They are killed, not elegantly. And then the last line is that they have faces of no one. It's almost like the animals are elevated as beyond humans at the beginning, and then they become lesser than animals by the end. So this poem makes me think of the idea of the ecosystem, which is the way the world, seeing the world as like benefiting us alone, rather than the ecosystem where we are a small part of the harmony that can exist. In several of these poems, there is, once again, some brilliant lines and imagery. I will give you some examples. In Part of a Day, there's a line that says, "Flying our minds on strings like toy balloons behind us." I loved that. And in the poem Landlady, which I really like, and probably if you've ever rented a room or space from someone, you might understand this poem. I found myself chuckling at it because there is a lot of truth in it, but I love the last line that says, "solid as bacon." So, as in the Circle Game, Atwood continues to write about water and drowning and pictures. In Attitudes Towards the Mainland, it says, "You think there is nothing but the lake and various drowners, letting slip their numbed grasp on the gunwale, their eyes quick pictures." And in the poem After I Fell Apart, there is a line that says, "An absence of revolving seasons, which might hold drowning in an emptiness deeper than water." Atwood has always struck me as someone who is caught up on current events and politics. And The Green Man is a poem written for the Boston Strangler, who killed several women in the early 60s. And Atwood's poem points to the fact that he would get into these women's apartments by pretending to be a serviceman or a delivery man. And then there's also The Green Giant, which is another poem about an investigation. So I'm not sure if it's connected to The Green Man, as she names the Boston Strangler in the other poem, or if this is another crime. If you know, please let me know in the comments. A Night in the Royal Ontario Museum is a fun poem for me. It was written, obviously, before the popular movies A Night at the Museum, but it's in this poem that Margaret imagines what it would be like to be locked in overnight at the Royal Ontario Museum, or the ROM, which is what we call it around here. It's such a great museum. If you've ever had a chance to visit, there would be tons to explore. And I love how she describes some of it and even includes like the cafeteria and the washrooms. It is Dangerous to Read Newspapers is a poem that, again, contrasts what is going on, and I'm assuming here in Canada is what she was thinking of, to around the world. And I'm going to read this one to you as well. I don't think it needs a lot of explanation, but we will see here. So, it is dangerous to read newspapers. While I was building neat castles in the sandbox, the hasty pits were filling with bulldozed corpses. And as I walked to the school washed and combed, my feet stepping on the cracks in the cement detonated red bombs. Now I am grown up and literate, and I sit in my chair as quietly as a fuse. And the jungles are flaming, the underbrush is charged with soldiers, the names on the difficult maps go up in smoke. I am the cause. I am a stockpile of chemical toys. My body is a deadly gadget. I reach out in love. My hands are guns. My good intentions are completely lethal. Even my passive eyes transmute everything I look at to the pocked black and white of a war photo. How can I stop myself? It is dangerous to read newspapers. Each time I hit a key on my electric typewriter, speaking of peaceful trees, another village explodes. So I just thought that one was very powerful. I know how lucky I feel to live in Canada and to be a Canadian, and I'm sure Margaret Atwood does as well. And to know that things are happening around the world that, you know, when she talks about names on the difficult maps go up in smoke, we don't even always understand where it's happening in the world and who it's happening to. And we live such a privileged life, and I just thought that this was a very powerful poem. I want to finish off by telling you about a novel with the same name as Atwood's poetry collection. The Animals in That Country by Laura Jean McKay, who I think is Australian. I'm not positive though. I am looking forward to reading this. I had hoped to be part of the event McKay was in during the Toronto International Festival of Authors, and it was one of the ones that I missed, but just from the blurb on the back alone, I think this is a book that sounds like something Margaret Atwood would approve of. It's a science fiction dystopian novel, and the back of the book says, "Jean is not your usual grandma. She's never been good at getting on with other humans, apart from her beloved granddaughter Kimberly. Instead, she surrounds herself with animals, working as a guide in an outback wildlife park. And although Jean talks to all her charges, she has a particular soft spot for a young dingo called Sue. As disturbing news arrives of a pandemic sweeping the country, Jean realizes this is no ordinary flu. Its chief symptom is that its victims begin to understand the language of animals. First mammals, then birds, and insects too. As the flu progresses, the unstoppable voices become overwhelming, and many people begin to lose their minds, including Jean's infected son, Lee. When he takes off with Kimberly heading south, Jean feels the pull to follow her kin. Setting off on their trail with Sue the dingo riding shotgun, they find themselves in a stark, strange world in which the animal apocalypse has only further isolated people from other species. Bold, exhilarating, and wholly original, The Animals in That Country asks what would happen, if better or worse, if we finally understood what animals were saying. So this sounds very intriguing to me. We often wonder ourselves, what do our puppies think, and what are they thinking right now? What would they say? What their voices sound like. So there is a pandemic, but it sounds very different. So I think it'll be okay. It'll be okay to read it. Please let me know in the comments below what you thought of any of the poems in The Animals in That Country. I have really appreciated the ideas and interpretations you have shared so far. Let me know if you have read the novel, The Animals in That Country. I'm looking forward to next week when we discuss Atwood's first novel. And a reminder that the schedule for Mondays with Margaret is in the description below. And I look forward to chatting with you in the comments. I hope you have a great day, and don't forget to make every day an adventure.